Hello everyone, I'm Megan Sullivan and welcome to this review of Echoes of the Fallen, the new DLC story quest for Final Fantasy XVI. If you like this review, please give this video a thumbs up and this channel a follow. This JRPG fan would super appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you to Square Enix for providing me with a free review code for the DLC. I do want to make that clear. So before I get started, player beware. You can't just jump into this new DLC. To access the Echoes of the Fallen questline, you first have to have unlocked Origin on the world map, and you'll need to have completed the side quest Where There's a Will and the side quest Priceless. In other words, you pretty much need to be at the end of the game right before the final boss, which, makes sense. By the way, before I forget, just an FYI, bonus items for the DLC are available for redemption in the main menu once you reach the quest called A Chance Encounter. Okay, so now that housekeeping is out of the way, what do I think of Echoes of the Fallen? I think I like it. I don't necessarily think it needs to exist. This 2.5 to 3 hour adventure is pretty short and doesn't add much to Final Fantasy XVI's story one way or the other, but it's a chance to reunite with good friends, collect some new gear, do some level grinding, and brush the rust off Clive's sword so he can go monster hunting. The DLC begins with Karen showing Clive an unusual purple-colored crystal. The Sharp-Tongued Merchant claims it's a dusk crystal, an inferior version of normal crystals. There's something not quite right about these particular crystals though, and Karen wants Clive and his team to investigate their origins. Clive agrees because he's afraid that while on his quest to defeat, spoiler alert, Ultima, he may have missed something and he doesn't want to go into the final boss fight looking like a goob. Thus, quote-unquote Sid, along with, spoilers again, Joshua and Jill set out on an expedition to see what's really going on. Clive's new adventure first leads him on a merry chase through the countryside, which I was grateful for because I am very rusty at Final Fantasy XVI's combat. It's been several months since I played. Luckily, I still have that accessory that makes doing sophisticated combos easier, and it helps that Final Fantasy XVI has excellent button prompts to go along with the sliver of muscle memory I still have from my previous adventures in Ballistia. Yes, combat is still fast and furious, and I love it. At any rate, Clive's attempts to chase down a trio of suspicious men trading in dust crystals leads the hero to an old ruin known as the Sage Spire. This ancient ruin shouldn't be glowing or active in any way, but it is, and it's causing a lot of earthquakes. What is going on? Did somebody activate an overlooked mother crystal, or is the tower something more ominous? It's up to Clive and company to find out, and what they find out is the ruin's terrible secrets, which I won't spoil here. By the way, it's at this point the game becomes a tower challenge, because I guess you have to have a tower challenge in an RPG, it's like the law or something. And it's not bad. First of all, I love the look and scale of the Sage Spire. There's a beautiful sunset glow to the tower, and the light and shadow effects are particularly effective here. The ruin itself is somewhat linear. You're just going down corridors, upstairs, taking a left or a right, hopping on a lift or two, and so forth. But I mean, whatever, it's fine, it's a tower. And it's a tower full of new quote-unquote fallen gear, which boosts Clive's stats like his shield and health, and thus is a nice incentive to make a run through the Sage Spire. There's also a new level cap, which is appreciated, and I actually missed that in the memo initially, so seriously, it was a pleasant surprise for me. And I like that each tower level has a set of unique enemies. Well, I guess I should say newly modified enemies, including a mini-boss challenge waiting for the player at every exit point of every level. Now, most of the trash mobs going through the tower are easy enough to tear through. You'll recognize enemy attack patterns pretty fast, so it's not too hard to just use icon powers to push through monsters. But there are a couple of fun and challenging showdowns that will keep you on your toes. Shout out to the Angra Mainyu that gave me a bit of a run for my money, and the final boss of this DLC, which I won't spoil here, but I will say comes with some super hype music. Oh, and a lot of particle effects. This DLC is a reminder that Final Fantasy XVI is a very flashy game. Story-wise, however, there's just not that much going on here. The DLC feels like it teases something big, but ultimately the whole narrative focuses on Ballistia's past, not really its present or its future. I don't really understand why this tower wasn't just in the game in the first place, especially since it's pretty easy and fast to get through. I did enjoy the voice acting, however. Even minor characters are played with panache, which is fun. But then again, having said that, the minor characters themselves are weirdly one-dimensional, and I wish I could have known more about them. It feels like Square Enix might have had plans to tell us about the importance of these characters, but then they scrapped those plans? I don't know, it was kind of weird. I also wanted to know more about the people behind the Sage Spire or the Spire itself. The tower represents a dark past after all, and I feel like we missed something significant during Clive's race to the top. We got bits and pieces, but ultimately that's kinda it. Oh well, the good news is that if you get this DLC, you'll receive special bonus items like Cloud's Buster Sword and a chiptune version of the song Away. So, is this DLC worth it? I mean, if you weren't already a huge fan of Final Fantasy XVI or you're crunched for time right now, I'd say you can skip it. There's nothing crucial here, like there's nothing huge that you're missing story-wise or gameplay-wise, so I don't think it's worth the price of admission. But if you want Cloud's Buster Sword or just want more of that addictive Final Fantasy XVI combat, then yeah, I would say it's worth it, but ultimately it's up to you. With that said, if you decide to play it, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later. Very well. Ugh.